Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. You are watching Tarot with Kuka. Today is September 26, 2020, which brings us to our debut of Light Guides, Moon Phases, Tarot, Good Vibes, All Signs. 3 videos in one. So this video is a weekly guidance pertaining to September 27th through October 3rd. So if you like what you hear, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. So namaste and thank you. So our first cards that we're going to pull is our weekly guidance. So as you know, the weekly guidance comes from our Muerte Book of the Dead Tarot deck. And I draw 3 cards, which the first card is our situation, whether we encounter the situation this week or in the near future or far future. But this is guidance that maybe someday will resonate with you, where you will encounter, but it'll be something where you've already been prepared for and know what to do. Or right now, if we're facing this current situation, this is our guidance to move forward. So with that, let's get started. So the first card that I pull, like I say, is our situation. And what we have here, does this look familiar to you guys? This is our Moon card, and it is in the reversed position. And so a lot of times, when people look at a reverse position, they think of it as a very negative thing. And like I say, my goal is to try to keep in the positive. The universe does not deliver negative or fear-based messages. And so with that, part of the training and learning tarot and keeping in with the divine is delivering messages that are not fear-based but are out of love. And so this first card is actually quite exciting, because the message that really drives home with me about the moon in reverse, especially with everything that is going on, is this card is about releasing or letting go of your fears. So before I get go any further, let's read the advice of the dead from the guidebook. So for the moon, the advice of the dead. And remember, when this is coming from the dead, whether the card is in upright or reverse position, this advice works through both through reverse, upright, in all directions. So the advice of the dead is trust your intuition, but continue to listen and to observe what surrounds you to discern its true nature. And I love this message that coincides with the current guidance about letting go of our fears, because again, the one thing that does keep us safe is our intuition. Our ego, believe it or not, is also there to keep us safe. And I've said this before, the ego's job, you look at it as a negative mindset, where it says like, yes, I want to do this. Your ego comes in, no, I don't think you should. Do you really think you can do this? So it's about protecting. So one of the things about facing our fears, is that spirit of discernment. What is the reality of the fear? Is the fear simply in our mind and there is no danger? Just kind of like as an example of that, you know how to swim, and you're jumping into murky water, so you can't see the bottom, and you've seen a lot of scary movies, and so you're afraid to jump in. But it's how real is that fear? Is there really going to be a creature underwater? So again, it's your discernment versus to decide whether this fear is just truly an illusion of entrapment that is created by your mind, or it is a signal of danger. And so with the moon card, this is where the strong intuition kicks in. And so with that, let's roll into kind of a guidance about, dealing and facing and releasing our fears. Because one thing that this card, the image that draws out, along with, this female looking into the calm waters, which is the emotion, it's not in turmoil, there's no storm swarming, but she has the ability to look through her emotions down deep inside, and where she's literally seeing herself on the inside, her skeleton, and again, you can take that as a very scary thing, but she's facing her fears. And the beauty of where this the moon position in this card, if you look at this card here with the crescent moon, this is what we call a waxing crescent. And so the waxing means that it's gaining light. We're going towards a full moon. And where are we headed this week? We're actually headed towards a full moon in Aries on October 1st. So right now is the perfect time to gather and assess what it is, what is holding you back from living, what fear is holding you back. It's time to face that fear and release it. And even if it means, you flat out give that fear the finger, or you lovingly release it, whatever works for you. So let's look into our daytime guidance, which is our sun action, or the masculine energy. And what we have here is the Seven of Pentacles. And interestingly, Pentacles pertains to kind of like an earthy, earthbound, a sense of the world, or family, or career. And so with the Seven of Pentacles, the advice of the dead is stay calm and reflect before acting. Aha! With careful movements, your well-being and your earnings will continue without problems. So what the universe is saying here, and as you can see here, our skeleton here, is working with an abacus. And the abacus is actually, it looks like they are, the pentacles actually represent the skulls, so that could pertain to any aspects of our life, our homes, our family, our career, but it's careful planning. So if our fear is revolving around any of these factors, there is careful, like I say, one of the careful assessment is discerning whether the fear is driven just from your mind, or if there is some reality to the danger. It's kind of like if you're planning to walk across the Grand Canyon on a high wire. Assess that fear. Is the fear of failure just in your mind, or have you properly trained? Do you have the proper safety equipment? Again, careful discernment. I'm not advising anybody to take a high wire act across the Grand Canyon by any means, but it's just an example of how to assess the true danger or your fear. And so with the Seven of Pentacles, its tarot number tends to boil down, is number 71 in tarot, and it boils down to number 8, and 8 is about abundance and financial security. So again, there's nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be okay. Just make sure you have careful planning before you act upon anything. And so our guidance for the nighttime, or our moon, we have another pentacle. So it seems like possibly our fears are maybe revolving around family, home, career, or even what's going on in the world. But it seems like this is what the universe is telling us to hone in on. And so we have our Knight of Pentacles. So the advice of the dead from the Knight is, do not let a good occasion escape when it is in front of you. Take a risk, even if it's your heart that is pushing you in that direction. So it's kind of telling you, you have nothing to fear. The end of your cycle here is releasing your fear and being able to move forward. Our Knight here represents the confidence and the drive to move forward. And also, his tarot number is from the Angel Book of Tarot is number 76, which financial needs are being met and on the divine path. That number breaks down to 4, in which you are surrounded by guardian angels. So what it kind of boils down to is you really have nothing to fear. The universe has your back. The universe is encouraging you to move forward, and the only way you can is just to let go of this fear, whatever it is that's holding you back. It's about being able to plan carefully and wisely. And and here, a lot of times they say, well, like with careful planning, just solely think logically about what your head is saying. But the Knight is also saying, what, it's okay to put your heart into this decision. And so with that, you kind of have that healthy balance of your head and your heart coming in and helping you. And and like I say, the universe isn't driving you to do anything that is going to take you out of alignment with the connection to the Creator. So only you can disconnect yourself from the Creator. The Creator does not disconnect. God does not disconnect from you. You disconnect from God. So again, when you're thinking about your actions, one thing to consider is, are your actions aligning with your connection to God, to the Creator, to the universe? And so if you do have that as an end goal, you can't be wrong. So remember, the source is love. Keep that in mind when you are trying to make your decisions about where to go and letting go of your fear. So with that, let's move on to our next message, which is our guidance from the moon. And let's see what we have here. Okay, so I'm going to put these cards down. I'll keep them over. I don't know if they will stay in view, but I will keep our cards here. Okay, so as you can see, we have our full moon. Let me see if I can get a little closer for that. We have our full moon in Aries. And so with the Aries message, what we have is a fiery climax that is approaching. And so, if you think of a full moon, think of it as kind of like that, a pot that is just about to boil. It's like you're sitting there waiting so you can add your ingredients to the boiling water. It's like watching. The boil is the climax. And so as with a full moon, the light is building your energy, building your bravery to let go of your fear. Hello. So the full moon brings about this climax. And so the message with the full moon, and this is coming from page 68, 69 of the guidebook. If you remember, Aries is a fire sign. So there's passion, there is, like I say, there's a drive to have things build up. And so, you can also look at this as an exciting adventure is coming. Or the tense situation, whatever it is, even possibly if it's part of your fear, the family situation, career or something, and it's a tense situation, it is coming to a boiling point. Either way, you are in control on how you handle this peak. You can handle it positively or negatively. So prior to the full moon, like I say, you've been out of balance because you have been giving in to fear. You've been living with this fear, and it's been holding you back. And so, it's been the opposite. Maybe you're the person that is also causing the fear. So you've been possibly, doing more harm than good. It's right now before this full moon. Put yourself in check. Assess where you are. What have you been doing to contribute to mankind? check your giving and receiving balance, and make sure you're either not giving too much or receiving too much. Because if you constantly give, it with nothing, where you are, giving to the point where it's like, even if you're being offered something and you refuse, you're putting yourself out of balance. And so the full moon right now is your chance to lovingly let go of people that no longer serve you, or maybe that have been putting you through strife. So it's either lovingly let them go or forgive them. But the healing heart begins with forgiveness. And it can either be forgiving yourself or forgiving others. So the attunement to this full moon in Aries is be nice, be kind, smile, and be polite as you navigate to where you want to be. And that's where that knight comes in with his heart going forward. So let's take a look. As usual, the moon, does have messages for us. And so the message from the full moon in Aries is new moon in Capricorn, which is very interesting because now we have kind of like, let me take this back just a little bit so you can kind of see the picture. So we have a new moon, which means the moon is in complete shadow and no light. And so the help, and here is a balance. You have the full and the new. So the message with the new moon in Capricorn is your hard work is paying off. So again, whatever it is we have been going through, it's going to be in the past if we allow it to be, if we release it. So with this climax of the moon, a new positive change is coming. If you've been stalled, whether it's with a project or dealing with the issues that have been causing the fear, the full moon is going to assist you with the release to move forward, and you're going to begin a new cycle, and it's going to be positive. And so the attunement with the new moon in Capricorn is make a proper plan. And again, that falls in alignment with our Seven of Pentacles, careful planning. Make a proper plan and execute it well. I cannot make this up. I drew these cards from 3 different decks, and the message is just literally repeating itself. So, let go of your fear, whatever it is that's holding you back. Carefully assess, how to do it, and you're going to be successful, and everything's going to be okay. And so the universe, it's just amazing how much it can speak a certain message when it's speaking the truth. And so with that, we're going to move forward on to our healing mantra. And so with our healing mantra, it's just positive vibes. And the funny thing is, I'm looking at the back of this card here, and I see untangling neglect. So again, I have a feeling, that these are going to be words of healing in order to kind of help us let go of our fear. And so with that, let's turn over this card. Okay, so we have, I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. You know what? That is that is actually so releasing, because again, part of the healing and letting go of fear is actually accepting ourselves of who we are. And so this is just that tiny step of positive vibes to help you move forward. And, you know, and like I say, I love Matt Kahn, this healing mantra deck. It doesn't cease to amaze me because the positive words are so empowering. And so with that, I want to read from the guidebook, which is page 52. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. When neglect is untangled, you are no longer turning to outside sources for constant reassurance and validation. Can I repeat that? When neglect is untangled, you are no longer turning to outside sources for constant reassurance and validation. And again, this is about discerning our path. So, instead, you are going within the depths of your own heart. Again, the Knight of Pentacles. To notice the path, the parts of yourself that require the presence of your attention. In nurturing yourself in this way, you step forward as the first responder to each wound, concern, and desire. This is how you face your fear, ladies and gentlemen. Let me repeat that. In nurturing yourself in this way, you step forward as the first responder to each wound, concern, and desire. From this space, there becomes less of a likelihood of attracting relationships where further neglect occurs, simply because you have accepted your role as one who nurtures the innocence within you. Wow. So this mantra is ideal for building self-confidence, again, facing our fears with confidence, surviving codependency, and healing neediness. Wow. So with that, let's take the time. I think this mantra here does not need any further explanation. So we're going to go and we're going to say these words with 3 deep cleansing breaths. So let's begin. Take a deep breath in. Release. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. Deep breath in. Release. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. Deep breath in. Release. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. Last time. Deep breath in. Release. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. With those words, go forward fearlessly. And as usual, the universe does not want you to be alone. And it was kind of interesting because this week I was actually, I felt a need to utilize Santa Muerte. Like I said, she is a spirit. She is likened to what other cultures call the angel of death or Archangel Azrael. She helps guide a newly departed soul. But she has also been one to call in and help heal hurt souls that have been hurt, people who's been hurt by religious institutions who've cast them aside for being different. And the irony is, like, that's not the message Christ ever conveyed. And so, you know, that's why Santa Muerte has kind of grown as far as in her religion. So I thought this week, you know, about, you know, especially about facing our fears, you know, she's possibly, you know, an awesome spirit guide to help with that. So the message that she is conveying is, I'm using the Santa Muerte Book of the Dead Oracle card deck, and so these cards are based off kind of like along the lines of the Kabbalah with 4 different worlds. And so let's see what kind of message we have from Santa Muerte about facing our fears and moving forward. Wow. So looking at this image here, what I kind of see is this is I believe we are in the final world in this. It's the world of actions, and so this is actually now the world where, you know, the phase of the world where we are in. You know, we have created things, we are making things happen, and so you can see here we have this busy couple, and so this is number 26 in the world of the Book of the Dead, and so this is actually work. And again, it goes along the lines with our pentacles about putting work forward. So the advice of the dead from here is proceed courageously without hesitation, working with constancy on the basis of your work. So it's about working courageously and not giving in and not giving up. And this is just really awesome on, you know, 3 decks, really connecting with a message of driving home about letting go of fears. So just remember, on August 1st, we are now facing a full moon in Aries, in which, you know, the full moon is a good time just to step outside and release your fears. And, you know, face them first and release them so that God can take your fears and turn it into love. Because you know what? We need to stop filling this universe with fear and hate. It's time to start filling it with love. And the light always wins. So with that, my beautiful people, I just want to send you love, light, and many, many blessings. Namaste.